going to want to buy express passes for Epic Universe. I was super lucky to be invited by one of my really good friends to Epic Universe team member previews. Epic Universe is Universal's brand new theme park in Orlando, Florida. It officially opens on May 22nd, and I'm so excited. But I wanted to give you some of my initial thoughts when I went. I will say, when I went, team member previews and the annual pass holder previews that are currently happening are under technical rehearsal, so a lot of the rides were breaking down when I went, and they're still working some kinks out before they officially open. Some parts of certain lands weren't even open yet. Some rides didn't even open. So keep that in mind. That's kind of what my experience was based off of. Let's get into exactly what you need to know first, and then I'll go into kind of the nitty-gritty of my experience overall. One, it's my absolute favorite park. Officially, it's my favorite park. It's stunning on so many levels. It's so vast. The details, there are so many details. And because of this, it is a 2-day park. I know everybody has been saying, it's a 2-day park, it's a 2-day park. And I was like, for me, nay, because I am a planner. I am a get everything done, go morning to close, get everything done right away, and get it all done in one day. Because when I would visit Disney World and Universal, I never bought park hopper passes. I said, that's a waste of money. We're doing one park one day, and we're doing everything we want to do in that one day. And typically, honestly, we would get it done. But this park is the first park where I'm like, okay, you know what? You might actually need 2 days. And now this depends on the person. If you care more about just riding all the new rides and then leaving, you only need 1 day. You will be riding those rides for 12 hours and waiting in lines, but I think you can definitely get all the rides done in a day. If you're smart, you strategize where you bounce to depending on wait times, and it also depends obviously when you're going. But if you're the type of person who also wants to sit down and eat or try different bars and drinks or just run around the different lands, because all the lands have a lot of interactive elements, and if you want to run around and like look at those, if you want to meet a character, if you want to do shows, so if you want to do all of that, you're going to want 2 days, or you're going to want to buy an express pass. Here's where it gets a little tricky, because express pass, let's say for opening day, I think it was like over $200. Other days it's around $160, $170, $180. It really depends on the day. It fluctuates a lot. But a day ticket to Universal is around max, like I've seen around $180, $190 for a single day at Epic Universe. I feel like a lot of people, what they're going to be juggling is either you get express and a single day Epic Universe ticket, or you just buy 2 Epic Universe days. Obviously, with buying the 2 days at Epic Universe, it could potentially be cheaper depending on express pass prices, but you're also having to spend an extra night that you may have not accounted for. So going an extra day at Epic will come with extra costs, like extra food, drinks for the day, staying at an extra night at a hotel potentially. So I think you'd have to keep those factors in mind. But I do think you should either do 2 days at Epic or buy express. Now, if you live here like I do and you're going all the time and it hasn't been added to our annual passes yet as of right now, I do think annual passes will be added really soon to Epic Universe. Shanique, my friend, was telling me that for Volcano Bay, they had team member preview and media previews and stuff, but they didn't add Volcano Bay as an annual pass option until the grand opening. And so I'm thinking either that's an option, but I think a more likely option is because the first 3 weeks are sold out for Epic Universe. I think what's more likely is that they'll wait for those 3 weeks to pass by, and then they'll add it to annual passes. But as someone who had just gone and is going again a week after opening, I'm highly debating getting an express pass for that day if it's still available and not sold out. If it's sold out, it's not the end of the world, because until they add it to annual passes, I will try and go once a month, because I know I have FOMO. It's been 3 days since I've been to Epic Universe and I'm already dying to go back. Virtual queues rolled out the day after I went to the team member previews, so I didn't get to try virtual queues for Ministry of Magic, but they are going to have a virtual queue system. I heard there's a lot of bugs right now, but people have been able to ride it using the virtual queue system. I've also heard that people had to wait 2 hours in the line after going back for their designated time slot. So I'm not 100% sure how that works yet. I think they're still figuring it out. There's not a lot of information on it, but obviously I'll be back to update as that goes on. And also, I know for a lot of people, Monsters Unchained is like the anticipated ride. That ride was down the whole 10 hours that I was there, except for 2 hours of the day, and not a continuous 2 hours, like 1 hour here, 1 hour there. I never got to ride it, and we did get stuck in a room that was horridly loud and flashing lights and really, really cold, and we were stuck in there for 45 minutes. Let me show you.
What are the odds we get kicked out? Huh? What are the odds we get kicked out?
Well, considering it's been about 30, 40 minutes since the announcement, it's pretty bad.
That room is a torture chamber. Okay, if you get stuck in that room, I would advise not waiting long in there. Also, I'm not sure how Monsters Unchained is going to perform once opening day comes, but as far as I know, it's constantly breaking down for long periods of time. So my best advice to you would be, if it breaks down and they're like, oh, we're doing a delay or whatever, give it like maybe 20, 30 minutes max. And if it's still down, just leave. Just leave and go do other things and don't waste more of your time. It's not worth it because it could be down for hours and you don't want to get stuck waiting so long and then you miss other things, especially if it's your one day. Also, the park though is absolutely breathtaking. The biggest thing for me when I went, the two like main shock factors were the details. The details were insane. I like through pictures and videos that you're seeing, it doesn't relay all the details. You have to go in person and see it with your own eyes to truly like obviously experience and feel what it's like to be there. The sheer size of everything is what really took me. Everything was way larger than I thought it was going to be, and I thought of how it looked from videos. I only got to do 3 rides. I did the werewolf ride, which was fun, but I wouldn't wait more than 30 minutes for it because it was very short. I did Hiccup's hang gliders, and I did both sides of Stardust Racers. Now, specifically for Stardust Racers, everyone is saying that the green side is more intense, but I don't agree. I think that the yellow side is more intense in terms of G's. I think the green side has better views of the yellow coaster racing around the green, and there are a lot more close calls. And the green side has a better inversion. There's only one inversion on each coaster. But the yellow side, I do think, is more intense when it comes to G's. However, none of them, to the upside downs, the inversions, whatever you want to call it, to Velocicoaster and the, what's this? What, you know what I'm trying to say? The acceleration. Why are words leaving my head right now? The acceleration on Velocicoaster is still better than on Stardust Racers. But I personally like the yellow side more than Velocicoaster. To put it into perspective, I put my hands up on the coasters. Not telling you that you should do that, but I am a hands up on coasters kind of girl. The only part where I struggle to keep my hands up on Velocicoaster is during the acceleration, the second one. Because obviously, it goes so fast, it speeds up so quickly, you're like getting pushed into your seat. It's hard to keep your hands up against all the wind and the forces. For the yellow side of Stardust Racers, I was putting my hands in the air and my neck, shoulder area cramped so bad I had to keep my hands down. That didn't happen to me on the green side. But on the yellow track, it was so insanely intense that my muscles literally cramped. So if that tells you anything about the G's on the yellow side versus the green side. And I say this because if you're getting express, but you're getting the regular express and not the unlimited, the regular express only lets you do each ride once throughout the whole day. So for Stardust Racers, for example, where there's 2 tracks, you're only going to be able to use express to ride one of them. If you're going to do that, the yellow side typically has less of a line than the green side, but they take about the same amount of time to get there. So the green side looks like it has more queue, but last time I went, I got into the green side line and there was a person who got into the yellow line, and we ended up about the same. I think they were one coaster ahead of us, and the yellow side had less people waiting in it than the green. I do know, but the green is more popular because everyone's advertising it as being more intense. So if you're going to use your express and you do plan on riding both sides, maybe use it for the green, but you know, pick which side you would rather do if you're just gonna do one. Isle of Berk was indeed my favorite portal to go through. That was my most anticipated. Since they announced the different lands, I was already most excited for Isle of Berk, but going in and seeing it, I cried. I shed tears, but I didn't actually sob until I got on Hiccup's hang glider roller coaster. Oh my god, when I tell you that got me, I cried the whole time on that ride. It was crazy. And being on Hiccup's hang gliders, it was like flying. It's essentially like Hagrid's, but shorter, and it made me cry. It was everything, and it is definitely on the top of my rides. Of the 3 rides that I rode, it's definitely at the top. I also love Stardust Racers, don't get me wrong, and it definitely fights, I think, for first with Hiccup's hang gliders. And the only reason it even fights for it is because on Hiccup's, the restraints are not comfortable. The lap bar goes down to like your mid thigh, and it's similar to Hagrid's, where as the ride goes, the restraint kind of pushes down more and more on your thighs. And because it's on the middle of your thigh too, it doesn't go all the way to like your belly. It hurt so bad. I ended up just scooching down in my seat and like sliding down so that the restraint would hit me farther up on my thighs, and then it didn't hurt as bad, but it does squish down a lot while you're riding. So keep that in mind. Maybe I was partially crying because of the pain. I don't know. Who knows? Isle of Brick was my absolute favorite. Nintendo World blew me away. I'm not a huge Nintendo girl. I was more Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted, PlayStation types of games. But Nintendo World did absolutely blow me away. It was a little overstimulating to be in there because there's so much happening. Every single element is moving and also making noise, and there's so many things to look at that like you kind of go in and at first you might be overwhelmed by how much stuff is going on. But it was incredibly insane. It felt like you were stepping into a video game. And then the Donkey Kong area, oh my gosh, that area was so cool. I loved it so much. It was everything. It was tropical, all of the little details in there too, but it was a little bit less overstimulating. I liked it a lot. The way that I plan to spend time in Isle of Berk, just sitting there for hours in different areas, working from there, hanging out, just chilling in there. I'm not sure if I'd be able to do that in Super Nintendo World because of how loud and chaotic it is in there. I think for me personally, I might get like a little overstimulated, which is crazy because I don't typically get overstimulated easily. Have been going to theme parks my entire life. I'm essentially numb to it, but I don't know if I could do it in there. Dark Universe looks insane. Dark Universe, the first thing that I noticed when I walked in there was how the line of sight was just wild. You couldn't see anything else except Dark Universe when you walked in, and it looked and felt like a small gothic town. I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing. I think the details are fantastic in there. The characters that are roaming characters throughout all of the lands. I love that we're doing that. And I hope that Universal continues to allow these characters to roam. So one of the big reasons the land was so immersive and fun because the characters weren't just walking around from person to person to person. Rough Nut and Tough Nut, for example, were walking around just interacting with each other, shoving each other, punching each other, yelling at each other, just doing random stuff, interacting with the land, not necessarily focusing on interacting with people. Dark Universe at night, because I know that's really what everybody's talking about. It's as good as everyone says. I will say, I have spoken to a few people who have said Dark Universe was a teensy bit disappointing to them. It was still very cool. They still really liked it, but it felt very small. And it was just, they said like a bunch of buildings and a character or two that they saw. I feel like you need to go in with the mindset that this is a small gothic town vibe. And if you are not a huge Universal Monsters, horror movies, HHN fan, super fan even, then I could see why this would be a teensy bit overhyped for you. But you might walk in and be like, oh, it's just a bunch of dark buildings and dark vibes. But if you are a fan of that and you are a fan of the monsters, you're going to love it and it's not going to be overhyped. Celestial Park, also absolutely wonderful, amazing, beautiful. It kind of gave me the vibes that Epcot gives in the center area with like park vibes, Central Park vibes with lights and stuff, but it's a lot more vast and expansive. There's a lot more open areas, and I personally like it more than Epcot's because it's larger, so it's way cooler because it's just bigger, to be completely honest. I think because it's bigger, it feels less like a theme park hub and more just like a park hub, if that makes any sense. And so I like that a lot more, and it gives more relaxing vibes. Like I really walked into Celestial Park and I was like, wow, I could really just sit here and just chill. I talk a lot with my hands now. I'm seeing that I need to put these bad boys away. But I even heard that the people who designed the park did it with lots of seating and open spaces because they wanted people to be able to just sit down and have a lunch, kind of like picnic style, or just like sit down and chill for a little in Celestial Park. And then lastly was the Harry Potter area, which I have mixed thoughts about. Right now, it is my least favorite portal land, whatever you want to call it. I will say 50% of it was not even operating. I didn't go watch the show. I didn't get to walk through the queue of Ministry of Magic. I didn't get to do a lot of stuff. I didn't eat there. I didn't go into the bar. Like I literally just walked into the land like I did all the other ones because we had very limited time because all the rides kept shutting down. We spent a lot of time waiting in the queue. So I didn't really have a lot of time to thoroughly explore all the lands and like look at all the windows and try to go into places. I can see the Harry Potter area bumping up on my list after everything is open and I get to spend a lot more time in there. But the only caveat is, like the Harry Potter land, all the other lands also have tons of micro details. And I just feel like a Parisian land to me is not as whimsical, magical, Harry Potter-esque as like Isle of Berk is, or Super Nintendo World, or Dark Universe. When you go to Go Ride Ministry, you're time traveling to the 1990s. And then you time travel back to the 1920s when you get out of the ride. And I don't know if I really love that the timing is just weird. Like I wish that they had based the ride in 1920s too, so it made sense. Because I haven't been in the queue, I haven't been in the ride, so I'm not sure if it's explained. But if it's not explained that you jump from the 1920s to the 1990s and back to the 1920s, I can see a lot of people being kind of confused, but I can also see a lot of people just like not even caring and just going and they love just enjoying it for what it is. There are a lot of animatronics, there's a lot of places to use your wand, there's also tons of details, and it's definitely a much larger area than I initially thought it was going to be from how it looked in the map. And the buildings are huge, and the amount of detail in there is actually insane. So I can see it getting bumped up on my list, but as of right now, it's on the bottom. Not saying that it's bad or boring by any means, it's just my least favorite out of all of them. Garlic pretzel steak that everybody is hyping up. I think it's slightly overhyped.
That's not bad.
The tips were really like dry and hard, but the middle is good and soft. Honestly, I wish I had a little more garlic, but that's just me.
The sauce is like a Papa John's garlic sauce, so it's pretty good. But I think it's a little overhyped. Another note that's really important is that there aren't going to be a lot of food snack stands. Some of the ones that are going to be available weren't open when I went. But from what I saw walking around, there weren't a lot of just like snack stands that you could walk up to, grab a snack, and then walk around the park with. And I feel like for a park like this, where again, you are going to want 2 days to fully experience it. And if you're only doing 1 day, you're going to just want to grab a quick snack, because all the quick service places where you can mobile order to eat take a very long time. You sit down at a table, that's if even you can get a table, because if you can't find a table, you have to wait to be seated at a table, which I can see this being a huge problem once crowds go up. Then you mobile order on your phone through the app. You scan the QR code on the table. Then you order it, you say that you're here, you type in your table number, and then you wait for your food to come. And it took a while. And they don't have customizations like Disney does for food. So for allergies, for instance, we were going to eat at Steakhouse in in Dark Universe, but we didn't because I was unsure of like one or two elements in every single food item they offered, and I wasn't sure if I could have it. And you can't just like deselect an item. Like on a burger, you can't ask for no sauce, you can't ask for this and that. And so we ended up going to Oaken Tavern, which was a barbecue place. I do want to try Pizza Moon. I do want to try Pizza Moon a lot. Everybody says it's good. My friend said that it's not as good as people say it is. It's still fine, but it's not as hyped up as people are hyping it up to be. So we didn't end up eating there, but I think I am going to try and eat there when I go next time in a couple weeks. If you do have an allergy, you can put that you have an allergy, but then you sit down, you wait for someone to come to you, you wait for a chef to come to you, you talk about all of your allergens, and a lot of stuff is pre-made there. Obviously, it's a theme park. This whole process of going back and forth and talking to people takes even longer than just how it took for us to just get our food the normal way. I think you will spend a long time waiting. And personally, if you are on a time crunch trying to, save time and you're not really interested, you don't care that much to sit down somewhere to eat a big lunch, I would avoid the sit down quick services like the plague. The theming in them is really cool. The barbecue place I went to, I had this like pulled pork. I did like one protein and one side, and it was like $23 for this pulled pork, the fries, and then it came with mango bread and bread and butter pickles. The mango bread was really yummy. This mango bread was so good. You can also get this mango bread alone, and it's $4, and I might do that. It's essentially like sweet mango cornbread. Oh, it's amazing. And it was like sticky on the top with like the syrupy thing. It wasn't like overly sweet. It was sweet like cornbread, but it had mango in it. The pulled pork was to me. It was kind of seasoned, but like barely, and it was just meh. And then the fries were the biggest disappointment because it said it was barbecue seasoned fries. There wasn't even salt on the fries, okay? The fries were a huge disappointment. So overall, that place to me personally was like a 5 out of 10. I'm really excited to try foods all around. Like I really want to try the quick service at Isle of Berk. I really want to try all of the foods everywhere else. But overall, it's my new favorite park and I want to live there. I needed to be on my annual pass immediately. I have so much FOMO. All I can think about is Epic Universe. And if you want to see more Epic Universe content that I'm slowly putting out there and just keeping up with stuff day to day, I know I post on here once a week, but I do post on my TikTok, Instagram, and Shorts every single day, once a day. So make sure you check out those channels if you want to kind of just keep up with me on a daily basis. Also, I do have oh my God, I think I mentioned this to you already, but I have a podcast, and on that podcast, we went into details. Shanique talked about her experiences at Epic. I talked about my experiences at Epic. We gave some suggestions and some helpful tips that we think will be useful for people going for the first time. If you're interested in that and just kind of like listening to a podcast, we also have that podcast on YouTube as well. That comes out also every Wednesday at 7 a.m. And I am so pumped to go back to Epic Universe. I'm so pumped for all the content. I'm so excited for everything. So stay tuned. And if you have any questions about anything, just leave it in the comments and I'll try to answer and help in any way, shape, or form and give tips and updates and all that fun stuff. So thank you so much for sticking around. I love you. Bye.